Good morning. This is Greg Ryan from Greg Ryan Fitness Coaching. I come to you from the great state of Colorado in the Rocky Mountains. I am sitting here overlooking a gorgeous creek as it flows. It's sun shining, it's 75 degrees, and I would like to just talk to you today on part 4 of how I increased my income $96,431 as a fitness trainer part-time with the Biophotonic Scanner. But I'd like to talk to you a little bit today on the bigger money that I am pursuing and to place these scanners in health clubs all around the world. I am coming to you unplugged. I do not have a script. I never do hardly. And I want to talk to you about 5 points that I'm going to, off the top of my head, on how we can take this scanner into a movement, into the fitness world, and create a residual amount of income similar to how Apple and Starbucks has their business model. I encourage you to be have an out-of-the-box type of thinking. I encourage you to see the bigger picture here. I encourage you to take your ego out of the equation and look at this from a technology standpoint. Look at this to where you can fit this into your practice. But also I want to talk to you about the power of duplication that Kathy Smith, the famous guru, taught me in the early 90s on how to leverage yourself and your income. So let's be frank here. You as a fitness trainer are basically living off of actual income, which means that you are the slave to your client and to the economy. And in my world, I do not want to be a slave to anybody, let alone the system itself. So I have, over the years, have tried to create an actual income and a passive income that will sustain me if I choose not to do this profession or choose to retire. I am 50 years old, my runway is running out, and I am not going to be a slave like 99% of other trainers to the profession. So as we start off here, let's do a little review. There are already 3 parts out there on what I've talked about as far as how I increased my income. We talked about a little bit about the technology, that this is called Raman spectropathy. It was designed to test the carotenoids in the back of your eye for macular degeneration, and it was perfected by the University of Utah. And they merged with a company called Pharmanex I think that was in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it was converted into a light ray that would go into your skin cell non-abrasively within seconds, and it will more accurately than blood serum test the ratio of free radicals to antioxidants or the carotenoids in your skin cell and give you a risk factor similar to, but more accurate, than blood pressure, cholesterol checks, body fat, things of that nature. So when this was brought to my attention a few years ago, common sense told me to incorporate this into my fitness practice. And so that's what I did. And I created nutrition programs off of it. I created a differentiation with my peers. So people came to me because I was on the cutting edge. I also used it in health fairs. I leased it out to other trainers and to other facilities and created an actual income. I could charge anywhere between, well, anything over $1 was pure profit. So my average scan fee was $20 every 30 seconds. So do your math. If I went to a health fair all day long, every time a hand would go on there, I would charge, automatically swipe my square on my iPhone and into my bank account it went. And then down the road, I incorporated this into my supplementation program to promote a particular supplement that I could measure the absorption rate of that particular vitamin and created a direct sales portion off of my business, and that became very lucrative and allows me to sit here in the hills of Colorado and to not worry about my income. Because 90% of the people that are listening to this tape have to worry about what you're going to do tomorrow morning. I do not, and that is freedom. So I encourage you to look at this from a long-term standpoint, because the fact is your runway is running out. Whether you like it or not, it is. And you are a slave to your profession. And in my world, I do not want to be that slave. So I have used it different parts in my practice that created an actual income stream and a passive income stream with the supplementation portion of it. So now, today, for the next few minutes, I want to talk to you how a business model exactly like Apple, exactly like Starbucks, exactly like the major Fortune 500 companies have allowed themselves to grow and to franchise. And this is where I feel the vision of the Biophotonic Scanner program is going. And I have peers, I have over 250 people that I could put on the phone right now that are making $500,000 a year with this scanner placing program and not working. And if you know anything about Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Robert Kiyosaki and the 4 cash flow quadrants, every one of you that are listening to this video or audio want to be in the big business or the investors quadrants. You do not want to be an employee, and at the end of the day, you don't want to be a slave to your self-employed practice. You want to duplicate. So the things that I am teaching you is right out of the book of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it's kind of, now you know why I wrote the best-selling book, Rich Trainer, Poor Trainer, off of the concept of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So let's talk a little bit about the power of duplication. Kathy Smith in Los Angeles, wonderful lady in the 90s, taught me the power of duplicating. She would come into her health club called Mesoplex in Santa Monica, and she would dub a videotape. It would take her probably 3 or 4 weeks to do it, and we always joked with Kathy that we never saw her again. And she would duplicate that tape for pennies on a dollar, sell it for $29.95. Percentage of the tapes never got out of the package. Percentage of them got used once or twice, and a small percentage of them got used periodically. And she created a name for herself and made millions of dollars on a duplication type of program. And that is what we want to do. We want to duplicate ourselves. What do you think this video is, or this audio tape? This is duplication at its finest. YouTube has allowed us to duplicate ourselves. I only have to do this audio tape once, and I can duplicate it millions and millions of times of teaching people like yourself how to create an income. This is the power of duplication. So what I did, that's what I want to teach you today, is look to the bigger picture and have the attitude of Apple and Starbucks. So the business model is this. We are creating franchise. And with franchises, if you learn the business model, the company gets a percentage of that royalties. In this case, the company, Pharmanex, has set it up to where we will receive a royalty check of anywhere between 5 and 10% of every scanner, every franchise, so to speak, in the world, in 54 countries of this scanner. So for me, my scanner is in multiple countries. It's in multiple states. And as I sat here today talking to you from the great state of Colorado, I am making money because just like Starbucks and franchises, people continue to buy the coffee and people continue to get scanned, actual scans in health clubs, doctors' offices around the world. So the business model is basically simple. How can you and I merge together, connect some dots, and place these scanners, no liability, no inventory, no extra staff member, into facilities, and to teach them the same thing and create a passive income royalty check of around 5 to 10% which translates into about $18,000 per scanner per year in all the countries in the world. So if you are a big picture thinker and you can do some math, look at what your potential is. So that's what we are doing. That is my next step, is that I am going to take what Kathy Smith taught me many years ago, and I am duplicating myself to where when I am 50 years old, 51 years old, that I don't have to worry like 90% of the other people that are listening to this audio tape have to do, because over and over again, word of mouth is the way of the future and the cheapest form of advertisement. So today we are placing these scanners into facilities all over the world, health clubs, gyms, wellness centers, Olympic training centers, doctors' offices, such as gynecologists, baby doctors, dentists, oncologists, endocrinologists, nutritionists, nutrition stores, you name it. We are placing this biophotonic antioxidant scanner into these facilities, and we are reaping a reward of passive income just identical to Apple and Starbucks. So let me ask you a question. Has anybody ever asked you to be involved in a rollout of a piece of technology? Has anybody ever asked you to get involved and be on the ground floor of a piece of technology? Has Apple ever called you? Has Starbucks ever called you and said, hey, we're coming out with the iPhone 8, 10, 12, whatever it is. We're coming out with the podcast. We're coming out with the laptop. We would like for you to be involved, and we will give you a 5 to 10% royalty check for every person that buys that laptop. Have they ever done that? No, they haven't. And I am asking you today to get involved in a Fortune 500 company that is on the cutting edge, and we are asking you to get involved in the ground floor of a rollout of a piece of technology that, by the way, has a patent on it, so nobody else in the world can take this for more years to come. And we're asking you to get involved in a partnership that will help change the world as we see it from a disease prevention standpoint. So for me and my business partner, this was better than real estate. I did not have to get up on a Sunday morning and go and check a furnace or deal with a tenant. All I had to do was place one of these scanners in a facility over the years, over the months, and I would reap a passive income equal to a $500,000 home of rental property. So that's what we have done over the last 10 or so years. And in our world, this is better than real estate, because we are dealing with anti-aging, we are dealing with prevention, we're dealing with doctors, and we can offer doctors a win-win situation with cash flow, with no liability or overhead or staff member, and we can reap a royalty check off of that. So the scanner, duplication power, word of mouth. We put this in a health club. That health club is going to talk to another health club, so forth and so on. We have found the business model. Basically, the company of Pharmanex created a business model that allows us to just be middlemen. So I have no liability if you decide to get a scanner in your facility. I just have an ID number and a partnership licensing with you, and off and rolling we go. So income streams, by comparison, like I said, is better than real estate. And so I encourage you to try to poke a hole in this business model, because you can't. People have been trying to do it for years and years and years, and it just does not work. The business model ranked by Dun & Bradstreet, I should say, is the number one business model in the world when it comes to developing a business and passive income. And so I encourage you to look at it from that standpoint. So, duplication. We plant these scanners into every facility in the world. We have more than 1,000 in the United States alone, and we have markets in 54 different countries around the world. So now, as I close here, let's insert a little common sense, and let's talk about the vision. We are on the cuff of an explosion of disease, if not already. We are on the cuff of having to do something to ward off this pandemic. We have a piece of technology called the Biophotonic Scanner that tests the carotenoids in your skin, antioxidants, free radicals, which are the source of your immune system. We have a chance to save millions of lives over the next 10 years. Who will it be? Will it be you? Will it be me? Will it be the guy down the street? But I will guarantee you that in the next 10 years, you will see this piece of equipment in a majority of the health clubs and doctors' offices around the world. So my question to you is, what if and why not? What if this thing could grow into something so large that you could never imagine? What if that you and I could place 5 to 10 scanners around the world and create a $100,000 passive income for you and your family? We'll do it. We've done it before. And the other question is, why not? Why not you? Wherever you live in this world, there will be 10 or 15 scanners right underneath your nose. So it's either you or somebody else. So I'm personally asking you to get involved in a rollout of a piece of technology that's going to change the face of the fitness world. I encourage you to look at this from a business side standpoint, the duplication standpoint. I encourage you to sit down and do some self-reflecting, no matter how old you are, if you're 20 or if you're 60. The facts are your runway's running out. And someday you're going to get sick. And someday you're going to have to go to the hospital and pay a hospital bill. Someday a child is going to go to college. Someday a parent is going to have to be put in a nursing home. Where will you be? Will you be a slave to the industry that you so love? Or will you have the ability to sit in the mountains of Colorado and enjoy the water that flows continuously, not having to worry about a bill for the rest of your life? My name is Greg Ryan from Greg Ryan Fitness. If you want any more information regarding the scanner program, you can email me at gregryanfitness@yahoo.com.